So, in a week where everybody else is watching Blue Beetle and Strays, we are going to be the two guys that watch Landscape with Invisible Hand. So, welcome back to another iPopcorn for that review. I'm Chris,
I'm Nick.
and we're here to talk about Landscape with Invisible Hand. Uh, I know this is pretty under the radar for most people, and I haven't seen a lot of reviews for this out there or anything, but we just went and saw this movie, and I loved it. But I haven't heard what you think yet. So what did you think about this movie?
I wish I would have gone to see Blue Beetle or Strays.
Ooh,
I did not like this
we differ
movie.
again.
Yeah, I couldn't
Funny.
like. I would have felt no attachment to any of the characters. The story was just kind of eh. It was there's parts of it that I was like, why is this even in this movie? And like I was excited when I saw the trailer for it. I was like, this looks like it could be pretty good. And then watching the movie today just kind of fell very flat for me.
That's so funny. I thought this might be one that we disagree on again, and it
Yeah,
is. So it's not like my favorite movie of the year, uh, but man, I liked it a lot. I'm surprised that it's not getting any attention. It's a really really weird one-off movie that's not easily comparable to anything else. It's pretty strange. It's not going to be for I mean, I would say it's not going to be for everybody, but I'm not sure how many people it's for. But it's a little bit for me, and
yeah.
I'll be in that very small crowd. There's dozens of us out here. But yeah, if you're into really unusual filmmaking, then this is for you. I mean, not that it's this type of storytelling is accessible enough for you. It just wasn't very engaging, I guess, right?
Yeah, like I thought the concept was really cool, and then when it came to the execution of everything, it just felt like, what is it? None of this matters. Like it didn't make any sense. Like it was pointless a little
Yeah,
bit
I
to
mean, you
me.
don't leave this with a whole lot of. Well, we might as well get into the story a little bit, but I mean, essentially, what's going on here they call it a benevolent, like if you read like a plot description or something, it says it's a benevolent alien invasion.
Mhm.
uh, but that's questionable to me, the benevolent part.
Yeah.
But yeah, an alien invasion, and they're very unusual looking aliens. It's not like your typical big-eyed green, big-headed little guys. Somebody describes them as looking like gooey coffee tables, and I think that's fair
Yeah.
assessment. They don't speak with their mouths. They just like rub these giant paddles at the end of their tentacles together to communicate, and that gets translated. There's like boxes that translate that.
And I gotta
And
say, I absolutely hated that too.
yeah, I will say this. I can agree with you here. The action of them like rubbing their weird tentacle pads together as their way of communicating is bad and
Yeah.
annoying. I'm sure it's directly from the book and everything, and in a book it's a different thing. But yeah, here it's pretty. That was the most grating part to me. But I did actually get feel some connection with the main character. So what's going on here is you've got uh, this kid. I knew I was gonna have to look it up again. This kid named
Adam.
Adam
Yeah.
Campbell, played by Asante Black, and Kylie or Chloe Marsh, played by Kylie Rogers, who we just saw on Beau is Afraid.
Mhm.
Um, but so if you've seen that, the paint, the girl that drinks the paint,
Yeah.
uh, but she, so they, he meets her at school. It's like her first day, and he finds out quickly that her family doesn't really have a place to stay, and he just offers up he and his mother's house as a place for them to stay, and he has a crush. And so pretty quickly this crush turns into her coming up with the idea to make some money with this so that they can pay rent and get out of their house and everything. And uh and the the idea is you can just live stream everything about your experiences as a human, uh and like make money off that, because these alien creatures that are called the Vuv will watch that and are super entertained by it, because it's a completely foreign idea to them. Romantic love and any kind of emotion or empathy or anything like that, they don't have any concept of any of that. So it's all very novel and interesting to them to watch, and they decide to just basically sell their like blossoming relationship. And obviously that makes things unusual and weird and awkward. And essentially the relationship is falling apart pretty quickly because of the fact that they're having to like live stream everything and pretend to be happy all the time even when they're not, and not ever getting into any disagreements or anything, and when
Yeah,
everything. Yeah, go ahead.
for me, like that whole part of them being in a relationship just didn't even seem like either of them cared about each other. Like there was no emotion there. But I guess there was supposed to be. It
I think there
just,
was in the very beginning,
yeah, I don't know.
but it goes away pretty quickly, especially on his side at least,
Yeah,
because, and I guess I don't know how genuine hers ever was, but they I think they try to make you feel like it at least at one point was,
yeah,
on both of their sides. But yeah, they're having to fake it, and the fact that they're faking it at a point means that they're getting sued by the Vuv, who are in this giant like city floating above. There's like all these giant cities floating above the planet, and they're getting sued by them because you're not allowed to be deceitful in these broadcasts, and so they have to do some. I'll save the rest for a spoiler free situation, but that's where we're at, and the things they do to get out of this lawsuit are really crazy, and it gets way more bizarre as it goes along. uh, yeah, I knew as soon as I left the theater, I knew this is going to be a hard sell of a movie and hard to explain why I like it so much,
yeah. Like I
but I
said,
do
I was
like it.
excited when I saw the trailer for it, and I just did not care like the entire time watching this. There is one part that specific part of this movie that I was like, what is this? Is the no point of this being in this movie? I don't know why it's in here. Because there's this
What's that?
whole, well, because it's his family, his dad left, to go, like, basically the job market is dried up because of these aliens, and their technology is, like, kind of the big thing. So they bring their
You either made deals with
technology,
them or
yeah, and they bring
yeah.
their technology here and make everything kind of better, but then everybody's worse off than they were before these aliens were here, it seems like. And so Adam's dad left to go to California because he was in real estate and was going to try to get something working, and then he just like never contacted them. So about halfway through the movie, he shows up at the house at 2 a.m. He's like, "Well, I didn't want to contact unless I had some good news." And then he kind of sees like this Vuv thing and living in the house and just leaves. Why did he come back? Why was that in the movie? It served no
I
purpose for any
it,
point to me.
I can agree with that. Like there, to have him show up and be such a brief thing in there,
It
and it
yeah.
basically just reinforces his son's belief that his dad's never going to stick around. Like for just a second, he had some hope that maybe dad's back, and
Yeah,
then he doesn't see even why his dad left, and then he just sees him walking away. It's like, well, there you go. You can't trust anybody. Is essentially what you learn from that.
I guess.
So I mean, I could see being annoyed by that. I think the reason it was in there the way it was in there is because you've got, maybe he was like trying to come back into his family's life,
Mhm.
but he's like super anti Vuv and anything Vuv, and so like he would never partner up with them is basically what he's getting at, and I think he's so against all that that when he sees, you know, okay, spoilers. I mean, he's seeing one of these sleeping on top of his wife.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's kind of like, I think it's almost played for laughs for a second because it's
It's
like,
like it's a pet instead of a thing in like an alien that's controlling.
yeah, the thing that they have to do to get out of this lawsuit with the Vuv that's going to like ruin their family for generations if they have to pay is they like the I guess a high ranking Vuv, her son wants to experience what it's like to be human. And so they make a deal where he can like be her, like literally marry our main character's mom and like live in their home and be their, it's like he's playing the role of their dad. It's all, this is, we're getting to real strange territory at this
Mhm.
point in the movie. Uh, but so he sees that Vuv sleeping on top of his wife, and I think that's the reason he left in such a hurry. He's like, not only are you guys colluding with them, you're like married to one.
Right.
So, uh, but yeah, for him to be in there so briefly, it did not serve a huge purpose. And I think there is some fat that could have been trimmed from this movie, and maybe that was it. Like,
Yeah.
I don't think that really you could have skipped over that. Um, yeah, not a obviously not a perfect movie, and everybody's going to be different. I like the weird quirkiness of this thing. It's absolutely the most atypical sci-fi, if you even want to call it sci-fi. I don't know what. I guess I'd have to call it some level of sci-fi,
Yeah.
but yeah, and I think it's interesting to make a movie with teenagers as the main characters where they didn't just completely annoy me the whole time. Like usually I feel like teenagers are usually played as like um very like middle finger in the air,
Mhm.
don't care about authority, angry at their parents all the time, and nothing but that. And it's it's rare to find a teen oriented movie. I don't know if it's oriented toward teens, but where the leads are teens, where they didn't just annoy me the whole time.
Yeah.
And yeah, is there anything else we can add to that, or is that about it?
I think that's about it, man. I mean, without spoiling too much.
Yeah, yeah. There's not a whole lot to spoil, but I recommend it. I'm not to speak for you, but it sounds
Yeah,
like
I don't recommend it. I
you do not.
go see something else.
Strays, Blue Beetle, those are also out right
Yeah.
now. I've heard Strays is funny. I've heard Blue Beetle's
Right.
okay. So the next thing we're not watching either of those. So the next thing we're talking about is Old Boy, which is just turning 20 this last week. So that'll be the next thing coming up. If you like this kind of thing, please remember to hit the like button and consider hitting subscribe below. And comment below if you are one of the few that saw this movie. And you know what? Comment below if you saw Strays or Blue Beetle and tell us how those were. Yeah. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you in the next one.
All right, we'll see you.